All right, everybody. I had a show ready to go, ready to tape, and I was going to put it up today, but instead we've got to talk about the elephant or the donkey in the room. And I just asked Marina to join me. So we're going to talk about this, but before we do, say hey, honey.
Hey, honey.
Forgive the really bad videography here, but that's just the way it is. Before we get started, though, why don't you update everybody on your medical situation, where you're at, what you're doing, PT, and all that jazz?
Okay. Well, they say that I have some discs that are starting to degenerate in my back. And so they have me doing physical therapy to strengthen, the surrounding muscles and what have you, in the hopes that it will at least help alleviate the pain that I'm constantly in.
Look at the green light.
Okay, yeah. So, that's what I'm doing. And I go once a week, but then at home every day I have a plethora of exercises that I have to do, and strengthening exercises. And soon I'll be able to, kick somebody's tail.
What about scrubbing the floor? Are you still able to do that and sort through my socks and underwear and all that jazz and do my ironing and...
Like I've never done those things ever before.
Right. All right, here we go. It is Friday morning. I'll get this uploaded as quickly as I can, but last night, like I'm sure all or most of you that are at least in America, you all know what happened, and Donald Trump is now a convicted felon. My apologies to kangaroos everywhere.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I said on bogus charges.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
We have in the United States, in theory, the separation of powers. We have the legislative branch, we have the executive branch, and now we have the
judicial.
Well, I was going to say judicial, but this is how we're governed in America anymore. We live in Alabama.
Yeah.
Let's say that you ran for the district. Let's say that you were the district attorney in the county in which we live, and you didn't like so-and-so. Nothing is stopping you as the district attorney from bringing charges against...
For anything and everything.
Anybody, for anything. Nothing is stopping you.
Yeah.
And you could potentially, as the district attorney of County X in Alabama, you could bring charges against the governor of Alabama. You could bring charges against the president of the United States, as we have seen. And before you did that, you could campaign for re-election, saying you're going to bring your governor down once you get into office,
right,
or your president. And it seems to me that is exactly what has happened in this case, is it not?
That's exactly what's happened. The George Soros DA, Alvin Bragg, initially, several years ago, he decided not to pursue this trumped-up charge or whatever. And the Southern District said that, it was a no-go and what. Well, then this Colangelo guy comes over from the Biden DOJ.
Now, who's Colangelo?
Mike Colangelo, he was like the number 3 person at the DOJ.
Okay.
And he gets shipped over to Alvin Bragg's office. It's a DA of is he the DA of New York or of...
Bragg?
Yeah.
He's not the state of New York. That's Letitia James.
Oh, okay.
She's the attorney general. Bragg is in the southern. He's in Manhattan. That's all I know.
The 5 boroughs.
Yeah, he is a DA in Manhattan.
Nevertheless, this Colangelo guy goes over to New York, and then shortly thereafter, they decide that they're going to take this case up again and prosecute Trump on these trumped up charges. It's ridiculous. They were misdemeanor charges, and they finagled with the law some way, somehow, to turn them into felonies, each of which carries a maximum sentence of 4 years each. They called it a hush money trial. There was an NDA. There was no hush money.
You're getting to where I wanted to go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It was an NDA, and those people who signed the NDA decided to violate the NDA.
Right.
And Trump is the one who's being punished for their choice in breaking the law and the contract.
If you're in a corporate America, you know what an NDA is.
Right.
They're very common. A NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. They're very common in business. And so I know that
I've had to sign NDAs.
They're common.
Yeah.
They're kind of like no-compete clauses in a sense, but it's just I think that Trump's former wife, Marla Maples, and probably Ivana probably signed them in all likelihood, but they're a regular matter, of course, in business anyway.
Right.
So there was allegedly an NDA here. There's nothing criminal about an NDA. There's nothing criminal about asking somebody to sign an NDA.
Well, and another thing is that the money in question that was marked down as a legal expense was lawfully marked down as a legal expense
why
because
is that?
he paid a lawyer to
And whether you agree with that or not
it's legal.
That's what I'm saying. What's illegal about it?
Everybody in the country does this.
If you want to call your lawyer and give him X number of dollars to get somebody to sign an NDA or whatever, since when is this illegal?
Well, and on your bookkeeping, what else would you write it down for but legal services? How else would you designate
So
it?
am I to conclude you just can't do whatever you want with your own money?
You can't do business in New York anymore.
Well,
period.
Obviously. This is why I said...
California will be next. California will be next.
Well, it goes back to what I started with,
Yeah.
which is, we're governed now in America by rogue judges and rogue DAs.
Right.
That can absolutely wreck your life. They can ruin your life. If they don't like you and they hate Donald Trump for whatever reason. There was a time when everybody loved Donald Trump before he got into politics, even in New York.
That's true.
In
Of course,
entertainment.
back then, I didn't like him. I never watched his show. I thought he was boring. But, I mean,
The bottom line for me is this, and this is a rhetorical question, but this is what it is. Where is the crime? Where is the crime?
They never delineated exactly what the crime
Is this
was
not what
alleged to be.
Dershowitz is saying? There is
Yeah,
no crime here.
There is no crime here.
It's not rhetorical. It's literal. I don't know where a crime is.
right.
It can't be over these NDAs. There's nothing wrong with you spending your money to get somebody to sign an NDA if you want to do it. Whether you should, I mean, look, I'm on the record. I'm sideways. I'm on the record. I got a lot of issues with Trump, but when it comes down to Trump and Biden, it's just a no-brainer, folks.
Yeah.
What else do you want to say about the trial before I move on?
Well, other than, it's a sad day for America, a very sad day. You often hear the term, we've crossed the Rubicon. There's no going back after this. I don't know how you reestablish justice in America unless you just tear the whole damn thing down and start over again. What they've done to the judicial system in this country is absolutely
Criminal.
It's absolutely criminal. Absolutely. And somebody's head should roll. Several heads should absolutely roll. It wants you to go back to the day where people got mad enough that you built a set of gallows and you just took care of the situation.
Now you're talking. It needs to be stated that this latest trial, of course there's several, this latest trial with this corrupt, jaded Judge Mershon, I believe it's pronounced, and Alvin Bragg, the DA, this was a state trial. It was a state of New York. This was not a federal trial. It was a state trial. But make no mistake, folks, who is behind all this? That would be the president, the current sitting president.
Yep.
Okay, this is a Biden operation.
His handprints are all over this thing. All over this thing.
At least in name, Biden can't tie his own shoes. We all know that.
Well, those in his administration.
But you can rest assured that Bragg and people whose names we don't know are absolutely working in conjunction with the Biden administration.
But
this
the buck
is
stops
this
in the Oval Office.
that it does, because this is nothing but the political persecution of a political opponent. That's why people are calling us now a banana republic. This is what third world sunglass wearing tin horn dictators do to their political opponents.
Well, when you bring the third world in, you turn into the third world. And so,
Point taken.
You know, and we have millions of illegals just pouring across the border, that Biden is now working on the border wall, I'm sure as slowly as he can drag his feet. It's just all ridiculous. It's just the most insane administration that has ever been in this country.
That has the stink of Obama all over
it.
This
yeah.
is who's calling the shots.
Yeah.
I have maintained, and I still maintain that, because, as I say, as much of a pathological liar as Joe Biden is, as evil and corrupt as he is, the man's faculties are simply not all there. What are you sharing
Right.
here?
Nothing. I'm looking at this.
She's constantly updating.
This guy that is part owner of Sequoia, I think it's Sequoia Capital, Sean McGuire, it has contributed $300,000 to the Trump campaign, and it was because of the verdict.
And he was not a
yesterday.
Trump supporter.
He was not a Trump supporter, but he would he sees that Trump is more likely to get this country back on track than Biden is.
Now, I heard that overnight, the Trump website melted several times because of donations. I don't know what you've heard. The last figure I've heard was over like $36 million, I believe, in donations.
I heard it was 34.8 million in small dollar donations.
Hey, how do you like that, Robert De Niro? That's another video right there.
He's a keeper, isn't he? He is.
Just when you thought nobody had a worse case of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome,
Right.
than Bill Maher, hello, Robert De Niro, trumping us all, no pun intended.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of people who drank the Kool-Aid last time, a lot of those people are waking up now and saying, you know, oh my God, what have we done? And they're voting for Trump.
Look, I know a lot of you that are watching, particularly those of you in America, I know some of you feel utterly helpless.
Don't feel that way.
And you're asking, you know, what can I do? You know, you see your country going down the toilet and you just feel like you're utterly helpless. Well, you're not helpless. There's a couple of things I have in mind. What would you say to somebody that is feeling helpless and hopeless right now?
Well, there are things you can do to fight back. You can join the precinct committeemen folks, and, you know, take over the RNC. All of us just go and.
What are you
and do
talking
it.
about on the local level?
On the local level, yeah. People are running for school boards all over
There
the
you
place.
go.
You've got to start at the local level, and we'll work our way out from here.
I call this the dog catcher strategy. You
Yeah,
can't run for
exactly.
president tomorrow, but you can, by George, sure have an impact on the local dog catcher election. You can have an impact on the school board election, on the county commission, on the sheriff, et cetera, city council, what have you. Judges.
Yeah.
You know, if you live in a small town like we do, a small county, consider running yourself. But there's more than that. You know, you can donate, join the people who are sending money, and that's one way you can let your voice be heard. Go to, I don't know what the website will be, donaldjtrump.com, I think
That's
it is.
the one I heard. Yeah.
And just keep melting that thing. But folks, I'm going to tell you, and I know how rigged the election was. I get it, but I'm telling you, this November, you have got to go vote. I mean, we have simply got to overwhelm the polls so that the hanky-panky that's going to happen, that's a given. The vote totals have simply got to be so overwhelming that it trumps, no pun intended, or maybe it is intended, whatever issues there may be that we face. Here in Alabama, it's kind of a given Trump's going to win this state. But I told Marina this morning, I don't care. We need to make sure to go vote just to add to that overall national number.
Yeah, and whether you like the man as a man or not, doesn't matter. Look at his policies. Look at the things he did, and look at the things he wants to do. Look at the policies.
He's really our only hope. He's our only hope.
I'm not asking this man to be my priest. I'm not asking him to be my husband. I'm not asking him to be my best friend, because personally I don't think he would be very good at any of those things. But, I like his policies as president. We got to stop doing things emotionally and think before you think before you vote.
There's simply no other option. I've got my issues with Trump. I don't have TDS. I don't hate the man. There's a lot that he did that I really like, that I really appreciate. But folks, this is, as I said the other day, this is what it's down to. It's Trump or Biden. That's the choice right there.
Yep, it's good or evil.
Now, let me move on to this. I hope and I pray that Donald Trump, and if he doesn't realize this by now, then it's utterly hopeless. I hope he understands that if he is elected, once he gets in office, it is time for vengeance. It is time for retribution. It is time for some house cleaning. It's not time to mess around. He has got to go there with like guns blazing on day one and do something about the deep state.
It's what we were talking about earlier. The reason why all this is happening is because he didn't do anything to these people the first time. I mean, people would chant, lock her up, and
he would ignore them.
And then he decided not to do anything about her. Big mistake.
Very big mistake. I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's time to turn the tables, go in like Jesus and rip the tables over.
They've proven that the rules have changed. They changed the rules. Well, by
forever.
Let's play by the rules then.
America will never be the same after this. No. This is unprecedented.
No. Yep.
We now have a former president who has been convicted on felony charges. Mm-hmm. Has it occurred to you that Donald Trump, as far as I understand, can't vote for himself now?
Well, of course, this case will go to appeal.
Well, I know that.
I don't know how long it's all going to take before it's all said and done. But, I mean, yeah, if the conviction stands, then, yeah, he wouldn't even be able to vote for himself.
But what I'm saying is he's got to be reelected, and he has got to start exacting some judgment on his political enemies.
Like it or not.
They would do this to him. They are doing this to him. Well, this is why. Go ahead.
Government was never designed to be emotional. It was never designed to be merciful. Government is there to pour out the wrath of God upon those who deserve His wrath. And when you stop doing that because you think, well, but they had a hard upbringing and this, that, and the other, then you're no longer doling out justice. I'm sorry. A lot of people have had poor upbringings and what have you, but if they commit a crime, then they deserve the punishment. Period.
Donald Trump going forward, I would give anything on earth if Donald Trump could see me saying what I'm about to say, because Mr. President, please hear me. When you go to select your vice president, sir, you have got to pick a bulldog. You have got to pick someone who is cold-hearted as they come. Someone who doesn't care what people think about him, somebody who doesn't care what people say about him, somebody who will go in there and clean house, somebody who doesn't care about polls.
Somebody who's got your back 100%.
Somebody who's got a set.
Yeah. And that's not Nikki Haley.
Well, let me tell you, if he picks Nikki Haley, then forget everything I'm saying. I can't imagine he would do that. And please, don't pick Tim Scott. Don't pick some of these wimpy, spineless, empty suits.
Yeah.
Vivek. That would be my choice. Dick Cheney would be the perfect selection.
If he weren't a rhino.
Right. Right, if he actually cared about America.
Right.
But Dick Cheney-esque, that works. By the way, where are the words of outrage and sympathy from George W. Bush this morning about this fiasco?
I haven't heard a thing from him.
Not a peep.
Neither has Nikki Haley. Not a peep.
No, she's too busy signing bombs and missiles in Israel. Let me tell you what Nikki Haley... Do I need to tell you what Nikki Haley is doing?
No.
Tell us what Nikki Haley is doing.
Nikki Haley is trying to position herself at the RNC convention to be forced onto the ticket as his VP. She wants to be prime minister with him as president.
While she feigns outrage, perhaps, at what's happened to
who knows what that woman truly believes. I don't think she has a sincere bone in her body.
Listen, the rank and file rhino establishment in New York, the people with R's by their name, like Mitch McConnell. Now, I've been working all morning, so granted, I haven't heard any words of outrage. I haven't heard any words at all from people like Mitch McConnell. I'm sure that if they said anything, it was probably some boilerplate milquetoast response. Have you heard anything from?
I haven't heard anything from Mitch. I heard that Mike Johnson said some little mealy mouth thing, and the Republicans are such a giant disappointment. Giant.
The fact of the matter is, people like Mitch McConnell would be all too happy if Donald Trump would just go away or go to prison, for that matter. They don't want him. It's as simple as that. That's why we have to have our voice heard.
Tucker Carlson said, the only other option that the opposition has at this point is to kill him.
Well, this is an assassination. I mean, there's no blood, but it's an assassin. It's a political assassination.
And political assassination.
That's what's left on the table, and I've alluded to that before.
Yeah.
Before I forget it, folks, please do yourself a favor. If you are a member of TuckerCarlson.com, I believe it's the URL. I think it's like $5 a month. And I believe it's behind a paywall, but if you can somehow get in there to see Tucker Carlson's interview with Professor Jeffrey Sachs, you can thank me later. It is excellent. Wasn't it? Isn't it great?
It was great.
Any questions you've got about what's happening with Ukraine or in the surveillance state,
I mean,
or the COVID scam?
People need to understand this is not the first coup that ever happened in the United States.
And that's what this is.
It's the third or fourth.
Yeah.
But they kept it so well hidden prior to the internet.
There was a coup in '63.
Yeah.
There was a coup in '72.
Yeah.
And on it goes. Anyway, all right, anything else?
No.
All right, so that's what's going on. Listen, keep faith, keep hope alive, as the Reverend Jesse Jackson would say. All is not lost. We're still kicking and fighting and screaming, and we're not on the canvas yet.
Raise your voices.
Raise your voice. Write Donald Trump a check or whatever it takes. Get involved on the local level. Let your voice be heard. Start a YouTube channel.
Contact your congressional representatives and your senators and demand that they defund this lawfare against President Trump. That is the least they can do.
We have got to rein in the judicial branch of government. These rogue judges. Something has got to be done with these people. It's like I said when we started the video. If you're a DA in Podunk County, Alabama, you could bring frivolous charges against anybody.
Right. And if you have a judge who is your buddy, then those people are sunk and there's nothing they can do.
No, there's not. Donald Trump, because of his status and because he has the means to buy lawyers to represent him, he's still fighting. But
well, the rest of us would have been sunk a long time ago. And the lives of the people he was talking about in his speech this morning, several of his attorneys and ex-employees, former employees, their lives have been ruined.
They have.
By the lawfare.
Who is this in prison right now?
Peter Navarro?
Navarro, it's absurd.
And he didn't do anything wrong other than tell the January 6th committee to shove their subpoena.
Yeah, it's absurd.
And it was an illegal committee. Was the reason why he and Steve Bannon did that.
Something's got to be done with these activist judges. I mean, this is not how the country is supposed to be run, folks.
No, it isn't.
It simply isn't. But you've got DAs who campaign for their office saying they were going to bring Trump down. I mean, give me a break, man. Trump was never going to get a fair trial in Manhattan. It just wasn't going to happen.
And they wouldn't give him a change of venue. And,
wouldn't give him a change of venue. And don't you have to have a unanimous verdict from a jury? And Mershon tells these people, no, you don't have to be unanimous.
No.
It's unbelievable. This would never, I would not think, hold up on appeal. Even Professor Dershowitz, who is no friend of the Republican Party,
Right.
he's appalled by what happened to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Anybody who is rational and sensible and objective at all understands that this is absolutely absurd. Anyway, we could talk about this all day, I suppose.
Yes, we could.
All right, folks. Give us your comments down below if you would. We appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up on the old video and subscribe to the old Triple T channel if you have not yet. I would appreciate that. We would appreciate that. Everybody go out there and have a great Friday. Don't be down. Be optimistic.
Be optimistic.
We'll talk to you soon.